Perfect Spirit. I'm Sam Shelley, the Miracle Man. So, welcome to Superhero Sunday. Today, we're talking about spiritual awakening. And basically, that is just remembering who we are outside of our mental story. So, I'm broadcasting live from the Head Trash Anonymous group, just waiting for some people to join. So, if you're new to my channel, I basically talk about, getting rid of this noise to remember who we are and really come back into alignment with our spirit, our soul. And this is where the miracles happen. My own personal life, I reversed the MS, the bipolar, arthritis, and a whole bunch of things because I stopped believing this as my truth. So basically, in a nutshell, still waiting for some people to join in, so welcome to everyone. So basically, in a nutshell, spiritual awakening is simply remembering who you are outside of the story, outside of the inner dialogue, those opinions, those thoughts, that noise. And that noise I call the head trash. That is garbage. We need to throw it out and really live our life. So there's some signs that, that you're on this path. You stop judging people, you stop worry, you stop stress because you realize that there's a greaterness to you, a bigger expansion part of you, this perfect spirit. And it's just really remembering, I'm either up in here or down here. And it's really the I got it, I lost it phase. And everyone goes through this, but the big thing is not to condemn or judge yourself. Hey, Dowie, thanks for joining. So it's not about condemning or judging yourself. It's like, okay, there goes that mind again. Let me come back to this moment. Where are my hands? Where are my feet? What am I touching? Where am I right now in this space? So when we're in the mind, in the mindless state, it's basically the opposite of spiritual awakening is the mindless state, where you're completely trapped by the mind and you're completely identified with your inner dialogue, those thoughts, those opinions, those beliefs. You're completely identified with that space. But you have to realize you're greater than that noise. You are the perfect spirit. If you can simply relax and know that to be your truth. And out there, unfortunately, there's a lot of people, spiritual teachers and others that make it really complex, that you need to go do all these things, all these rituals, routines. That isn't the case at all. I just basically spent 5 minutes a day when I first began of like, okay, there goes the mind again. Where are my feet? Where are my hands? What am I touching? There goes the mind again. Where are my feet? Where are my hands? What am I touching? It's really that simple, coming back. It wasn't when the mind was going, I was like, would you stop? Just stop. I wasn't giving that energy. I was just like, and I wasn't criticizing or condemning myself. It's like, there goes the mind again, and just coming back to this moment. Hey, Paula, welcome. So there's still some people joining in here, so everyone's welcome. I do this in the Head Trash Anonymous Facebook group. And really for me to, take questions. I always like to give short talks, then a meditation, so you actually have that experience. Because we like to intellectualize things. We like to analyze things. But we don't want to do any of that. We just want to learn to be here now, as Eckhart Tolle has spoken about, as Ram Dass, of all these teachers, Sadhguru, whoever it is, they always point you back to yourself. That you have this story, this illusion, but you just need to come back into this moment where all your power is. Your power is not in your thoughts. It's not in your stories. It's not in your opinions, your beliefs. It's really right here, right now. So we really have to start letting go of the judgment, letting go of concerning ourselves with what others are doing, realizing it's their own spiritual journey. And you really get this big picture that all is well, that there are no mistakes in the universe. And when you really understand that and live that, then the worry goes away, the stress, the anxiety. And yeah, sometimes that will come back because it's always the I got it, I lost it phase. I rarely see people that are 100% here all the time. That's really nearly impossible with a mind that's constantly thinking and churning. It's always trying to put those hooks into you and grab you and pull you out of this moment. Now I'm to the habit. Now when I see that, like, okay, the mind's grabbing me, let me come back. Mind's grabbing me, let me come back. Visually, when you're starting out, maybe the mind's pulling you all over the place for a minute or two before you can come back. And then it pulls you for a minute or two, then you come back. It's that simple. You just keep coming back. And as you're going throughout the day, you just keep coming back. When you're meeting someone that makes you angry, upset, just stop and say, I don't need to feed into their story. Let me just be here. Let me notice what they're wearing. Let me notice their hair. Get yourself back into this moment. Notice how they're just trying to put triggers into you, hooks, to pull you out of your power. That we're all this superhero. If we can simply get out of this, out of the mindless state, into our perfect spirit, consciousness, the soul, the source, the universe, whatever you wish to call that. You just want to keep grabbing yourself back here in this moment. Yeah, so Paula made a good comment here. Let me bring that up. Usually I don't do this in my talks, but I think it's a good comment. Yes, it's very simple. Spiritual awakening is simple. It requires a little determination, if you will, a little bit of willpower to pull yourself back from the traps of the mind. It is a practice. And it's really what they say in the Bhagavad Gita. You focus on the labor, not the rewards, the fruits. You just focus on the labor, the practice. It's really all the practice. And even a non-spiritual book that really talks about this, that's really good, is Seth Godin's book, The Practice, because life is simply a practice of remembering who we are. We think that we're here for some special journey, some mission. Yes, in a way we are that, but the first step, before you even know what your purpose is, your mission is to remember who you are. If you don't know who you are, then you're just guessing what the mind is saying, what your purpose is, what you're here to do. But you really don't know until you're into this deeper place within you. And we all have this within us. No one is excluded. If you're alive, your perfect spirit and body. If the body has dropped away, transitioned, then your perfect spirit without the body. This is the energy that never dies, was never born, was always here. You can call that God, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. We are that. But we get hung up on these words, these language, and it's really just pulling us out of this moment. So all we need to do is just be here. And if you're stressed, anxious, panicked, how am I going to take care of myself? Then you're up in here. We have to realize this is our lighthouse. It's always whispering to us, do this, do that. Very simple, do this, do that. And there's no story behind it. Sometimes it makes absolutely no sense. This will give you the story. You need to go drink water to keep yourself hydrated. There's a story behind that. But the intuition, the intuitive voice is just do this, do that. No story, no reason, no excuses, no blame. This is giving you stories. Oh, they did this to me. Are you allowing them to put hooks into you to take you out of this moment? And the news is great at doing this with all this fear. But to realize the fear is just strictly up here, because we have to realize this is just our human experience. It's not the real us, if you will, the perfect spirit, because this body will drop away, and it will drop away for everyone, and it may come back into another body, maybe another planet, another life form. Who knows exactly what happens to this energy? But this energy will have other experiences besides this human experience. And sometimes you might get this little deja vu once in a while, like I lived this before, I've been through this before, because maybe you were in a human body before, and it's a little bit of deja vu, and it gives you that, because that's stored in our soul, if you will. So it's all very, very simple. That's why I was just fortunate I never had that spiritual teacher that you had to sit in meditation a certain way, you had to sit up straight, you had to hold your hands in certain mudras, close your eyes. keep your posture just so. And no, all those rules would have kept me focused on the noise. And we're supposed to focus on the silence within us. You have to realize this is the noise, this is the silence, this is the peace. And out of that peace, wisdom arises. Some people could say this wisdom arising could be channeling. It could be insights from your past loved ones. It comes in all sorts of flavors, if you will, this wisdom. But to realize that you are one with all that is. So the mind likes duality, it likes separation. So it calls it channeling, it calls anything out there. But we have to realize that we are one singular perfect spirit, that we are one consciousness, and all these different flavors of that, all these different forms. But we are ultimately this one energy. But the mind likes complexity, difficulty. We have to realize that everything is happening under perfect order. So even if people are like mindless, if you will, just completely trapped in their mind, that's not our job to judge them, to correct them, to make them wrong. It's sort of like a humbleness comes over you. You just realize they're just on their journey. They're not causing harm to society. They're not doing any evil. Let them be on their way. But if you see somebody doing evil, being cruel, then it would be proper to step up or to stand in and say, this doesn't seem right. This seems wrong. You're causing harm. You're causing damage. But to realize that we're here, the spirit is kind, gentle, supportive. All this meanness is up in here. So we just simply have to relax and enjoy this moment, that we're alive to have this experience. And being alive is a beautiful thing. So tomorrow is Monday, and everybody gets a case of the Mondays typically. They start dreading the week ahead. And I just created a video for tomorrow. It's like, smile, it's Monday. Excuse me, smile because it's Monday. Smile because it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Smile each day, because this is one place too, the shift out of this mind is to be in a place of gratitude, of appreciation. The simple fact that you are alive is a good day. You're alive in this human's body. It's time to celebrate. And when you celebrate that first minute of the day, it sets the way forward for the whole day. But typically, when we start the first minute, the mind starts turning with the to-do list, starts creating all these constraints. So you went from these infinite possibilities and potentials to narrowing it down so every day seems like the next. And it feels like you're stuck in a rut because you allow the mind to dictate your day, as opposed to saying, it's a beautiful day. What can I do today? How can I celebrate me today? And let's celebrate us. Let's take some moment just to celebrate us, that I'm alive. Look at all the beautiful things here. I'm alive. And just be in this place of gratitude. And I mentioned this, how many times do you look at your hand and say thank you? Or look at your foot and say thank you? Or even your ears. Say thank you to your ears. What would life be like without ears? You'd be constantly turning your head like an owl to hear people. We forget these little things that we take for granted. And once you're awake, you just see all the beauty that's around you. And you're not analyzing, you're not worried about how, you're not trying to figure things out. You just set that intention and you just trust that synchronicities just happen in ways that you simply cannot explain. So I'm going to dive into a little meditation because I don't feel like talking really expresses properly. It's all intellectual. So you really want to have that experience of being perfect spirit, being consciousness to soul. So you want to do whatever you can to be comfortable right now. Maybe it's flipping off the shoes. Maybe it's finding a different spot to sit down, lay down. There's absolutely no rules whatsoever. If you fall asleep, that's the mind's defense mechanism because it doesn't want to give up control of the mind. So that's what the mind does. So sometimes you make yourself a little uncomfortable so the mind doesn't fall asleep. So you can really be here in this moment. The mind has all sorts of tricks to keep you in the I got it, I lost it phase. because it doesn't want to give up control. It likes what it's comfortable with. It likes being with similar patterns. So the mind doesn't care if you're in pain, you're suffering. It doesn't care. It just wants to keep you comfortable and safe. So it keeps repeating the same things over and over again, because that's all it knows. The mind is comfortable with being uncomfortable because it's familiar. So we're just sitting here relaxing, nothing to do, nothing to accomplish. We allow the eyes to soften, to close, to really be here with ourselves. If the mind comes with the thoughts, the stories, the judgments, the wondering what's going to happen next, we just let all that go. We just find that peace within us that's always here. Remember, you're either in the noise of the mind, the inner dialogue, or you're here in this moment. So when the mind starts telling a story, you don't even have to acknowledge a story. Just come back to my voice. Where are your feet? Where are your hands? What are you sitting on? And just notice. Eventually, you won't even ask yourself those questions, because that's their thoughts. They're keeping the mind busy. You just want to notice, where are my feet? Where's my seat? Where are my hands? And you just bring yourself back into this moment. And it just becomes a habit after a while. Noise, peace, noise, peace. You have to realize there's peace here at every moment. There's silence in every moment. It's like a music. We hear a song on the radio. On the internet, we hear the song. But if there was no pauses, no space between the notes, it would be a buzzsaw of noise. But it's melodic, it has a harmony, and life is like that as well. Underneath all the noise, there's a silence, there's a peace. This is the real you. This is perfect spirit consciousness. The spirit, the soul, is just sitting right here, right now. Just observing, just witnessing. It's not labeling anything good or bad, just this experience. And just notice how spirit is trying to nudge you a different way, a less painful way, a way with less suffering, a way for you to grow, a way for you to expand. Because the spirit is our lighthouse, always illuminating our path forward. But we get caught in the noise, the traps of the mind that lead us astray. So to remember, the mind doesn't have our best interest at heart. It simply wants to keep you comfortable, safe, being comfortable with the uncomfortable. But spirit will challenge you. It will tell you to do things that make no logical sense. But you just trust that voice, because that voice has your best intentions for your growth, for your expansion, for your ascension, if you will. To be this perfect spirit, to embody this way of living, where you're not judging, you're not worrying, you're not anxious, you're not stressed, you're not fixated on success. You're just living life, being in a state of play. What can I experience now? Where can I challenge myself? Where can I grow? It's all very simple. Noise or peace. Noise or peace. Then there's more advanced practices we can do once we're in that peace, to set these intentions, to create that life we want. We're not going to really dive into that today. But you can go in that with an uplifted energy into a place of peace and create this new reality. But for now, we're just focusing on, am I in noise or am I peace? And realizing all of our power is in the peace. And the mind is constantly trying to force its way. Or you can think of force versus power. The mind wants its way, And that's the force. Are we going to power? Noise, silence, force, power. You want to be in a place of power, of embodiment, of enlightenment. You be in tune with your own light. This is where the magic happens. Things happen that you cannot explain. Things beyond your wildest imagination. Because Spirit has no limits. It wants the best for you. Are you willing to go on that ride? Usually, many are not. The mind wants to hop off and say, this is too difficult. This is too challenging. I don't like this piece. I don't like what Spirit is telling me to do. I don't like the unknown. The mind hates the unknown and will resist in every opportunity. Spirit will have you constantly walking into the unknown, taking that leap of faith in you. We get to realize, am I satisfied with the life I'm currently living today? Or would I rather go a new way? A new way is difficult. Change is extremely difficult for the mind. It loves what it knows. It hates what it doesn't know. So you just want to sit here for a moment and relax in this peace, this joy, this contentment. Feel the stillness. Feel the peace. And know that is you. Yes, it's enjoyable to sit in this space. And we recommend that you do this for 5 to 10 minutes a day. But realize you do have to come out of this space and have the human experience. Ultimately, that's why Spirit chose to incarnate into this body, to have the human experience, to learn from the human experience, to add to the collective knowledge. That's our ultimate purpose, is adding to the collective knowledge. So whatever you're facing today will help another if they're willing to listen to themselves. To inspire others that they are meant for greater things is also your purpose. So now we want to come back into the body, maybe feel on your legs as you come back and you open your eyes and you say, thank you. Thank you for these legs. Thank you for these hands. Thank you for my cheeks, my ears. Thank you for my nose. Imagine life without a nose, cheeks, hands, legs. Be a much different experience. So you're going to be in this place of gratitude, of appreciation. So just remember the noise or the peace or the force demanding things or the power which just creates. That's the thing you have to realize, this power creates. All right, so as you just keep on drifting back into this moment, and then I'm here if there's any questions that come up, anything that you want to address today. I'm just logging into my phone, so if there's any messages here, I'm not sure how well the chat's working. Okay. So I'm here if there's any questions, anything that you want to dive into. And maybe there's nothing. Maybe you're completely here in the peace, realizing that all is well. If all is not well, then there's a story. What's the story? And how is it serving you? What are you meant to learn from that story? How to connect with your spirit guide. It's just really finding that place of peace within you. They're just asking questions. Just asking a question why you're in this space. Because your spirit guides, your intuition, whatever you wish to call that, is always whispering to you. It's simply this, preventing it. So in a way, you can say that you're always connected to your spirit guide. But are you in the space that you can hear? Or perhaps if you can't hear, are you in a space to notice? What signs and symbols are they putting around you? Numbers, pictures, music. They're always trying to get your attention. So you're always connected to your spirit guides. But once again, that's a place of duality. It's the separation. But you're always connected to all that is. And these souls are giving you insights to remind you, go this way, go do that. But can you hear yourself in that piece? Are you noticing the numbers, the pictures, the flowers, the clouds, the birds, the trees, whatever it was from your past loved one? What's an indication that they're around? Because they're probably trying to give you a message. Yeah, this is good from Paula. I appreciate the reminders to simply be, to act from my inner voice, my perfect spirit. It's so refreshing since I'm always trying to do and change. But to realize the only thing you can't control the outcome. The only thing you can really control is your action, your behavior in this moment. Are you taking the steps that will really make a difference? Or are you taking the steps from up here that may be leading you astray into the wrong way, if you will? Because remember, this just wants to keep you safe and it's comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is going to lead you into the unknown, which the mind hates. So you just have to be here in this moment to the best of your ability. You just notice your thoughts. You don't judge, you don't condemn those thoughts. You just come back to here. Where are my feet? Where am I standing? Just come back to this moment. Is there any signs, symbols around here? And another thing you can do is, like, if you're sitting in this space, you can say, I'm feeling lost. Give me a sign that you're here. And then just go through your day and just look for those omens, those signs, those symbols, and see what appears for you. And it's best maybe if you're walking out into nature, give them more things to play with. Because if you're in your house confined, it's a little hard for them to really get your attention. But once in a while, you may see something that really puzzle you, like a white feather in the middle of the floor. You'd be like, how did that get there? Because spirit can do all sorts of magical, interesting things. All right, let's see if there's anything else here. All right, we've been live about 30 minutes so far today, but let's be here in this peace of realizing that the only thing we control is us and our reactions, our behaviors, our actions. Just concentrate on our labor, our task at hand, and not worry about the fruit, the rewards. Because if you focus on the goal, the rewards, it's going to be a lower bar. If you allow yourself to operate from spirit, it's going to go way beyond those goals. All right, let's dive into this one now. All right. I still find it difficult to comprehend how my being in silence, peace, and authenticity, how that allow others to do the same. I know we're all connected, but I can't comprehend how my doing nothing affects others. But you are doing something. You're being at peace. You're choosing not to follow the noise. It's really the butterfly effect that we do ripple out into the world in ways that we can't explain. Just the simple fact of us smiling, sending love and peace to another impacts them on a very subtle energetic level. And this is why people can pray for people in the hospital if they're sick. And a lot of people get together and praying, then it shifts them. But if a person was fully in this moment and prayed for them, that's all it takes is that one person. But most people are open here, so it takes a collective energy because they're not fully in their power. So if you're fully in your power, then you can really make magic happen for someone. That's the best way I can explain it. Yeah, so maybe you need to look at like the butterfly effect, Paul, and just realize, even they saw in the quantum field, if one particle is positive, its counterpartner that's negative could be, billions of light years away, and they're still connected. It will still stay positive, and this will still stay negative. It's just the way it works. The quantum field is very magical, and we are that quantum field. Our beingness will impact another. And just notice if you're somebody angry comes in a room and you're not reacting to them and you're just emanating this peace toward them, watch them soften. They will soften in ways that can't explain. I'm not. This isn't all going to show, but I can show some of it. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, let me read the rest of this. Yeah, do puzzles. Yeah. Let me just go back to this chat so I can see it all. Yes, it's a puzzle. They're constantly giving you things, but are we aware enough in this moment to actually notice that our family is always connected to us? They're always giving us these signs, these symbols, these puzzles, these word games, things that make no sense. Just trust that. They're saying, hey, I'm here. Maybe he'll do a puzzle with you. Maybe you'll see something that you don't understand and he'll just come with insights. Or maybe there's a message itself in the puzzle that you do. Something that reminds you of the past more than just the puzzle, but maybe there's a deeper message in there as well. But we just have to be here in this moment and simply notice. If there's anything in this world that we're supposed to do is to be observant and to notice. Not to interfere per se, but just to notice. I love going to the park and people watch and just notice, or on the subway, just notice people. Notice their eyes. Well, you really can't see people now because of masks, but just notice their eyes. Most people are not here in this moment. They're up in here and they're in this mindless state. I'm not really aware. So our job is really just to be aware, to witness, to observe. It's really that simple. And just notice, like you really mentioned, Paul, it was really good that, you're focused on your eyes when you look in the mirror because that's the windows to your soul. Because the mind's going to have all sorts of judgments about your hair, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your clothes. The mind's filled with all this judgment. We just need to discount it. It's like, I'm happy with me. That's good enough. That's good enough. I'm happy with me. That's fine. So I'm just going to make sure I'm not missing any comments here. So let me just dive in here real quick. Is it going to refresh? Let's take a look. All right, it's acting up. I think I'm still alive, but my phone froze. That's perfectly normal. When you're in spirit, electronics typically don't do well because when you're tapped into this perfect spirit, that's the highest energy of the universe. There's no energy lower than perfect spirit. There's no greater energy than perfect spirit. Perfect spirit can blow out light bulbs, can force computers to shut down, make all electronics go crazy in this apartment complex. It can do all sorts of things because this is a radiant lighthouse, bright as the sun. So electronics typically don't do well. And on my phone, is the phone still locked or did it unlock itself finally? Let's see if it's still doing. Okay, it came back now. Um, yeah, that's. I also. This is. I also have the second book I wrote here, Broke the Habit of Negative Thought Addiction, which is what we're all addicted to, these thoughts, these opinions, this story. That's not serving us. We need to let that go to the best of our ability. Yeah, if you're feeling very tired today, very heavy, very tired, very blah, what's the story? Because notice how you're judging yourself. The body shouldn't feel this way. Well, why not? This body needs rest, it needs proper food. The body does what the body does. There's no need to judge it, it's just doing what it does. If you come back into this peace, maybe something will arise. Oh, you ate this, but you need to eat this to counter that. Oh, you drank this, you need to drink this. The spirit will give you the counterbalance. But just let go of the judgment and realize the body does what the body does. Because this body does need the proper nutrition, proper food, proper rest. Just needs to be nurtured and taken care of. And remember, this mind is always guessing what's best for the mind, for the body, mind and body. The mind's always guessing. But when you dive into this deeper place, when you feel the body feels off, just simply you just feel like the body feels a little off. What can I do today for that body? That's all. It really is. What's your blueprint for today? What's your way to move forward today? It is this simple. Deepak Chopra is always known for saying, when people ask him difficult questions, I'll just tell them to go meditate, find your answer. That's what Deepak Chopra does. His answer is to be like, go meditate. When they ask him something difficult, sometimes he won't answer it, but just tell him, he'll just say, go meditate. But it's really about sit quietly. You don't need to get into formal meditation. You just sit in any old chair, you lay down, just get quiet and just say, what does my body need today? That's it. See what arises. And we just have to really let go of the judgment of the body. It does what it does. All right, anything else? We can just be here in peace, enjoying being alive, feeling the aliveness in the body. You can feel your heart beating if you're really here. If you focus on body parts, you can feel the heat as the energy, the blood moving through the hands, the legs. There's just an aliveness here. Right. Yeah, that's perfect, Paula. Yep. Yeah. Yet mind wants to explain everything. It has to have a reason for everything. But sometimes there are no reasons. Let's just say you walked out of the room, but you came back into the room and there's a white feather in the middle of the floor. Knowing that there's no birds around you, all the windows are closed. There's no explanation for that feather to show up. But the mind will still try to logic it out. Sometimes there's absolutely no reason. There's no logic. Like my doctors cannot explain me. I stopped believing this and I healed. They can't comprehend that. Like I said, I tell the story, the last time my neurologist saw me, he questioned me for about 45 minutes, trying to understand what I did. He was trying to quantify it. You can't quantify spirit. Spirit is beyond reason, beyond logic. It's where the place of miracles happen. It's where our superhero resides. It's always leaving those tall buildings, doing the impossible, because there's nothing impossible for spirit. And I am coming live tomorrow night. I'll be live, with soul messages. Sometimes we don't have the answers because the mind's so busy. So it's a place to get some clarity. Then on Wednesday, I'm doing a manifestation workshop. I know in the meditation I talked today that when we're in this place of peace, we can manifest, we can set intentions from here to create our ideal life. And I'll be talking about, actually, Paracelsus is going to be leading that. It's be kind of interesting. He's never led a meditation before that I can remember. Usually it's Galen that he likes to lead them. And sometimes Melchizedek will lead them, or Metatron, but Paracelsus hasn't. And yeah, that's my reality. It's a place of duality, but it's a way I can explain that energy when that wisdom comes through from those beings. But it's ultimately all one perfect spirit, in all these different forms and flavors, including this mouse, this book, that phone. It's all made of the same stuff, just as different forms, different level of awareness. Oh, a really interesting story, though. This is reminding me of something, the awareness. Oh, this is when I was still working the corporate job. I was just driving to work one day in one of the back roads, and I saw, it discarded like sofa on the side of the road. And then it was like, oh, I just felt, oh, I'm seeing a sofa. I just acknowledged a sofa being there. And I felt like the solid sofa talked back to me and said, it's okay. I lived my purpose. I will come back in a different way. So Paracelsus was a doctor in the 15th, 16th century who discovered basically the mind-body connection, realizing how the mind affects the body. That's who Paracelsus is. And I learned to tap into Paracelsus, Galen, the first century physician, when I worked with an Incan shaman, a Peruvian shaman, about 5 years ago. I worked with him, and he taught me to bring in the doctors from the spiritual realms. So Paracelsus is one of those. I have pretty much, he gave me a list like 10 or 11, and two pretty much stuck with me, Galen and Paracelsus. So I can't explain it, but that's just the way it is. I don't know who that wrote that, but I can look at my phone and see what's working. Let's take a look here. So, hey, Karen, so welcome. Yeah, so Paracelsus is, somebody on my team. But once again, that's the duality. That's the mind trying to explain things. But ultimately, we're that one energy. And basically, you can say that the soul of Paracelsus is coming in and sharing his insights on his wisdoms on manifestation. All right, I think that's it for today, unless there's some more questions. We're going on 43 minutes. We'll probably stay to 45, and we'll see. Yeah, because we have to realize that we're all perfect spirits. Are we in body or not in body? So someday this body will drop away, and maybe I'll be a spirit guide for someone. I don't know. And then I can share wisdom insights with them. Or maybe I'll just go away and never come back to Earth and go to a different planet, different dimension, or never return to any place and just stay in the spiritual realms for a while. There's no rules. We're here to just constantly grow and expand. Sometimes it's to renew the human experience. Sometimes to go have an experience on a different planet. The universe is infinite. Our experiences are infinite. But this mind wants to lock us into this reality. And we are greater than this reality, this consciousness, the spirit, the soul, the perfect spirit. All right, I'm just sitting here for another moment, see if there's any more questions before I wrap up the day. Just being at peace, knowing here all is well, all is in perfect divine order. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It's just providing feedback on what works, what doesn't work. There's no failure. Failure is simply feedback to try a different way. Life is a bunch of feedback loops. This doesn't work out well, so try it this way. Try it that way. Do this, do that. Life is a constant, experience. We're here to just have all these experiences. Oh, thanks, Dally. And you're the superhero. where everyone watching is a superhero. We simply need to realize that, get out of this, and I can do all things. You can turn your life around rather quickly. For me, I turned my life around basically in 2 weeks, 5 minutes a day. Then once I realized I had thoughts, but I wasn't my thoughts, then the magic happened. Then, yes, power. Power is here. Force is here. So you always want to operate from a place of power and not force. And that's actually a David Hawkins book as well. David Hawkins was an interesting character, an interesting being. There's some rather interesting books that I've read of his. I do enjoy his words. I do enjoy his books. But lately, I've been feeling Wayne Dyer around quite a bit. I just kicked the camera. All right, so I'm gonna wind down for today, and I will see everyone. You can always send me questions on this group. I respond to the YouTube comments to the best I can, and I'm always looking for suggestions on videos. If you have that, let me know. Tomorrow I created a video for tomorrow already. I thought it was pretty good. It's Monday. Smile, basically. All right. Well, take good care of yourself. I'll talk to everyone soon. Bye for now.